Welcome back to Real Airgun Adventures and to the Webley Nemesis single stroke pneumatic pistol. Now this is the original Nemesis pistol that now lends its name to the Webley Nemesis and Nemesis X CO2 powered pistol and rifle on the wall behind me there. Now this was made in Birmingham by Webley in the early 2000s. One of the last pistols to be made at the Birmingham factory, along with the Tempest and the Typhoon. Now these were very popular pistols and quite widely acclaimed, but they just vanished into the mist of time. Most people will think of the Virak HW40 or the Beeman P3, Beeman P17, which bear an uncanny resemblance to this beast. Now this differs in several ways, the first being it is a full metal frame. So the bulk of this pistol is actually very nicely finished cast metal. The only plastic on it are the faux top slide, the overcocking lever, and of course the grips, which screw onto the metal frame there. Now that has a couple of advantages in that there are no seams, so straight away the whole thing feels very nice, and it does lend a little bit of extra weight to it, which makes it a little bit easier, in my opinion, to shoot accurately. It works in pretty much the same way. There is a hammer, which is really a catch. That releases the top slide, which is the overcocking lever. When you open it, it fills the cylinder with air. When you close it, it compresses that air. The barrel is on the top slide and you introduce the pellet in when it's open. So it's much the same idea. Now the trigger is different and the safety is different. Now the safety on this is actually within the trigger guard here. Straightforward push through safety, which means you can actually switch it from fire to safe and safe to fire with your trigger finger, which isn't possible on either the Virak or the Beeman. Now because most people fire these with two hands in a thumbs up position, that's not really an issue. But if you wanted to operate the safety with your finger as a right-handed shooter, that would lead you to a slight problem. Now again, it does look very much like the Virak HW40. In fact, just to prove that point, one of those and one of those, and you can see a lot of the styling of this is incorporated in this. Now this is a full polymer pistol, a little bit lighter. It's still a good weight. It's got the safety up here, so if you're a right-handed shooter, it becomes a problem to fire with one hand, but it does have that absolutely gorgeous trigger. Now the trigger on the Webley is different in a couple of ways. It's actually a different mechanism entirely. What I'll do, we talked about the dry fire mode on the Viraks and on the Beemans, and this has the same ability. So in fire mode, I just press the trigger. There's a first stage, which take the safety off. First stage there, which is a little bit longer than perhaps I'd like, but that is fully adjustable. I'll come to that in a second. And then you get to the actual release point, which is a gentle squeeze. It's a tad on the long side. You can see the trigger move, and that click would be the fire. Now you adjust the trigger via this hole here in the trigger guard, and you can see the two screws within the trigger blade that allow for adjustment. So although it's probably not as good a trigger as the others I've mentioned, it does have the advantage of being adjustable. So you have an adjustable trigger, a very accessible safety, and a full metal frame, which I think are good features. Now, as I say, it works in the same way. You pull down on the hammer, which is the catch, and that allows you to lift the top slide all the way over, and the barrel get the angle right, just in there. That's where you would load your 2.2 pellet in this case. This is a 2.2 pistol. This is the cylinder, pistons on there, and as you close it, I'm going to put it on my knee to close it, but as you close it, it compresses the air and gives you a single full power shot. Now the sights, the open sights, are adjustable for windage and elevation. They're not fibre optic because of the age of this pistol, but they are very good, very good sights actually. And this is a very accurate pistol. It's pneumatic, so I can dry fire it. So just release that safety, and then we give that a little shoot. I'm going to point it over there. It's not loaded, but you just, you never know. So we'll just let that off. The microphone probably won't. Oh, I think the microphone will pick that up. Now, it's generally speaking a little bit louder than the Viroc or the Beeman because they have an air stripper in the end, which does make a difference. This doesn't. This is solid, and the barrel does come right to the end. But it's still not particularly loud pistol. As I say, the microphone may not give you a true indication of how much noise that made, but it's loud enough. So what I'll do is I'll do some shooting, and I'll just come back and round up. If you look at the time that was designed and sold, it's a very modern looking pistol, and they've managed to maintain a little bit of the Webley heritage in the shape. It's got that curve which you find on the Tempest and the older seniors and juniors. So they've moved with the times. They've designed a modern looking military style pistol, but still retaining that little bit of Webley heritage, which is a really nice feature. That's another little nice feature as well, Webley badge there. These are a nice pistol, and these were really marketed as an entry-level target pistol, which I guess is the same sort of place in the market for the Viroc and for the Beeman. And of course the Beeman P17 is an incredibly cheap Chinese clone of the other two. Anyway, do some shooting and I'll be right back. 10 yards, J's to be exact, and I struggled to find a 5p that time. Okay, shooting done. As I said, very accurate, very precise pistol. Now I have been inside this just recently actually, and I can tell you now that one or two of its components are not original because I've changed them myself. Not to improve its performance, but the piston seal, which is a flat type washer with a hole in it, a gap to allow you to apply it, was letting by slightly. So I swapped it out for a couple of slightly oversized O-rings, and also in the bottom of the valve assembly here, down there is a tiny O-ring which had decomposed, so I swapped that as well. This is a really easy pistol to disassemble and reassemble. The trigger mechanism is again simple, so you don't have to worry about losing bits and pieces. Unlike, say, the Beeman, once you've loosened or slackened that hexagon retaining screw there, you can pop out this pin, just punches through. This unscrews, literally, it's got a short thread, you unscrew this, you can take the whole piston assembly out. This chamber then unscrews, and behind that is another seal, and then you have the valve itself. And on the back there's a pin retained by 2 circlips, which also allows this to pivot. Once that's out, you can take out the valve, you can work on it. There's one spring that holds that whole lot in place and keeps that under tension. Really easy, really straightforward. I would imagine these are going to be around for a long time to come because they're so easy to repair, and I repaired it without the actual spare parts, although I will buy the crack washers and change them at some point. But I wanted to do the review today, and I wanted it to be working. Also, it is operating at around about 2 foot-pounds FPE, which is about right, if truth be told. Now I'm going to close that again. Again, I'm going to put this on my knee. The other thing about this, which is nice, is the sights protrude beyond the top slide, which allows you more room to actually get the lid closed, because it's not an easy thing to do. I'm trying to talk and do this without sounding like I'm straining. 28 pound of pressure. And to be fair, all of these single stroke pneumatics, with the exception of the bigger Viroc, take that same amount of force to close them down. Now, manual safety, which is a really nice feature, is one of the things that I really like about this. I'm not saying that the auto safety isn't a good feature, it's just that on the Viroc and the Beeman, it's on the wrong side, which, you know, okay, there's probably a reason for it. I can't think what that might be. Anyway, let's just get rid of that again. Now, I like it. I think it's a good gun, and in all honesty, I think it's probably better, certainly for the way that I shoot and the things that I like, than the Viroc and the Beeman. But that is my opinion, so don't be swayed. You might have a job buying one, but they are around, you can pick them up, and they're not expensive. Anyway, that's enough of that. I just thought I'd share that briefly. Now, a couple of interesting things coming up. .25 cal rifle, sub 12 foot-pound, that could prove interesting. And I've got my custom QB78 out at the moment because I'm just really giving it final polish before I do a quick review on the finished article, and some shooting and some chronograph. Also, it's a little bit hot at the moment, so I'm going to tone it down a little bit too to keep within the law. So that's this afternoon sorted out. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Big thank you to all those who have. I've done that thing with the watch again. I am up against the clock today, that's why. But it's a big thank you to all those that have liked and subscribed. It's much appreciated. It's why I do this. It's why I keep making videos. So, you know, thanks guys, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.